In this video, we're going to look at solving quadratic equations by factorising. So we've got a quadratic equation here, x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals 0. The first thing we need to do is to look at the left-hand side, and we need to factorise this quadratic. We start by looking for numbers that multiply to make 5. So the only pair of numbers that multiplies to make 5 are 1 and 5. We now put in our quadratic brackets, two pairs of brackets, and that's still equal to 0. We've got a single x squared, so just a single x goes at the front of each bracket. And now we look at the 1 and 5, and they have to add to make 6, which they do. So we get x plus 1 and x plus 5 inside the brackets. Now we solve this by putting each bracket individually equal to 0. Because we know if two things multiplied make 0, then one of them must be 0. So first of all we have x plus 1 equals 0, which gives us x equals minus 1. And secondly we have x plus 5 equals 0, so x equals minus 5. So our final answer is x equals minus 1 or x equals minus 5. Got another example here, x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. This time we've got a minus sign in our quadratic. So we follow the same process. We draw our two sets of brackets and put an x at the front of each of those. And now we're looking for pairs of numbers that multiply to make minus 8. So we could have minus 1 and 8, or 1 and minus 8. We could have minus 2 and 4, or minus 4 and 2. They're all our possibilities. So we've got 4 possibilities here. How we choose which one of those 4 we want is we look at this number here, which is plus 2, and we need to choose which of these 4 adds up to plus 2. So minus 1 plus 8 is 7, so we don't want that one. Minus 8 plus 1 is minus 7, so we don't want that one. Minus 2 plus 4 is plus 2, so that's the one we want. So you put minus 2 in here and plus 4. Now we solve the equation as we did before. Look at two brackets individually. X minus 2 equals 0, so x equals 2, and x plus 4 equals 0, so x equals minus 4, which gives us our final answer of x equals 2 or x equals minus 4. Another example here, this time the minus sign is at the first part rather than with the number at the end. But we do the same thing. We start by looking at numbers that multiply to make plus 15. So it could be 1 and 15. It could also be 3 and 5. Now, when we see this minus sign at the front here, that we've already seen, we know that there has to be at least one minus. But because we've got a plus in the second space, it means actually we've got two minuses. So actually we've got two more options here. We've got minus 1 and minus 15, and minus 3 and minus 5. Both of those also multiply to make plus 15. Now we're looking for the one that adds to make minus 8. It's not 1 and 15 because they add to give 16. 3 and 5 add to give us 8, so it's not that. Minus 1 plus minus 15 is minus 16, so it's not that one. Minus 3 plus minus 5 does give us minus 8. So there are solutions here. So we go x and x in the front of our brackets. Put x minus 3, x minus 5. And again, we look at each bracket individually. x minus 3 equals 0, so x equals 3, and x minus 5 equals 0, so x equals 5, giving us our final answer of x equals 3 or x equals 5. Final example is when both the signs are negative. Okay, if the final sign is negative, we know that our answers, one is positive and one is negative. And we're looking for minus 8 this time, so numbers that multiply to make minus 8 are minus 1 and 8, 1 and minus 8, minus 2 and 4, and 2 and minus 4. They add to make minus 2. Minus 1 plus 8 is 7, so not that one. 1 plus minus 8 is minus 7, so not that one. Minus 2 plus 4 is 2, but we're looking for minus 2. And 2 plus minus 4 is 2, so that's the one we want. We put in our brackets. And x at the front of each, and this time we've got plus 2 and minus 4. We've got our two brackets once again, so we get x plus 2 equals 0 gives us x equals minus 2, and x minus 4 equals 0 gives us x equals 4. So our final answer is x equals minus 2 or x equals 4. And that's how we solve quadratic equations by factorising.